Alright, thought I'd show you a quick, inexpensive way to get your seeds started for the coming season. Get an old cardboard egg carton, tear off the tab and the lid, or you can cut them off if you want it to be perfect, but I don't think that's necessary. And then and get a plastic tray. This is a tray where I bought bulk chicken thighs, a tray of chicken thighs. You can find these in all kinds of stores, or something close enough to it. It needs to be fairly deep, fairly close to the top of this. Cardboard tends to dry the soil out, so once you get this filled with soil and get the seeds in it, you can put water in here, and by keeping a small amount of water in it all the time, you'll keep the soil properly moistened and keep the cardboard nice and soft so it doesn't dry things out without drowning the starts. So you just take some potting soil and fill these up. Try not to spill too much of it. And once the cool thing about this is that once the plants have started and you've got your garden ready and you're ready to transplant, you can just rip these individual cells off. By then they'll be wet and they'll rip very easily. And you can plant container and all in the soil, and that way there's no disturbing the root system, so there's no transplant shock, as long as you harden the plants off outdoors before you put them out. Sudden temperature change can shock a plant a little bit, although if it's not a warming up kind of shock, it's not usually a bad thing. But, you know, you'd be going from indoors where it's probably pretty close to 70 degrees to outdoors with nighttime temperatures probably approaching 40 at least, if you're, you know, waiting for, if you're in a frosty area right now, or an area where it's still too cold to plant. Here where I live, I've already planted outdoors, but I want to just show this for people who are living in other parts of the country where it's not warm outside yet. So there you go. And if you save and store seeds, keep them in an airtight container in the refrigerator. They'll last just about forever that way. You know, seeds that are good for one season will come up year after year if you refrigerate the seeds, where if you just leave them at room temperature, the rate of germination will drop pretty rapidly over time. So I'm just going to plant a couple of sugar snap pea things. Put in 6 sugar snap peas. I'm a big fan of sugar snap peas. And, I mean, you can plant whatever you like. Let's see, I'd like to get some cucumbers this year. Oh, some melons. I definitely want some melons. That's probably more than I'm going to need. And I only plant one seed per hole rather than thinning them later. And I just plant more than I think I'm going to need. And that way, if I come up with some, you know, if I have a really high germination rate, then I can always give plants away or find another place to put them if there are things that I like. And so you just cover up the seeds like this, and in a few days, depending on the germination period of the particular seed, these will be up. And then once the garden's ready for these to transplant in, then you just tear them off and put them in the ground. Let me grab some water real quick. And so by not directly watering it, you're not going to compress the soil. The soil will and so you just put a little bit, maybe a half an inch, less than a half an inch of water in the tray, and that will soak into the cardboard and keep the soil moist without waterlogging everything. So there you go. And I'll see if I can do a follow-up video in a few weeks to show these growing, and we'll do a transplanting then. So once you have all the cells planted, then just set the planter in the windowsill and let nature take its course.